Well, welcome to episode 3 of my quick fix. Anyhow, so I went ahead and made a post on the Antique Radio forum, and I got some suggestions. The first suggestion was actually from Norm Leal, who said to go ahead and ground the wiper and see what it does to the volume. Apparently I had in my brain the whole thing backwards. I thought that the higher the resistance, the lower the volume would be, not vice versa. So, anyhow, I guess that would make sense if, I mean, obviously that's the way it is, but I guess it would make sense as the volume's been getting progressively louder over the last 18 months or so, you know, kind of in slow steps, I guess. And that would make sense that since this is the original control, it would be, you know, they tend to drift upwards. And I do believe when I first tested it a couple years ago, it was at 250, 260, and it's drifted up to whatever it was, 287, I think. So I suppose that the low end would have drifted up as well, which would make sense that it got louder. But that's what I'm telling myself. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it on, and we'll go ahead and do that test. I just had this on a minute ago, so it shouldn't take too long. Alright. Hopefully you guys can hear that. It's on a fairly low song, but... And also what I'd been doing was, it isn't quite as noticeable on some of my local stations, but it is on my broadcaster, especially the one stream that I listen to the most. It happens to be the loudest. And of course, for some reason tonight their stream is down, so the next loudest is what I've got in here. So, alright, so we're going to go ahead and do that first. Suppose I should give the obligatory, you know, don't shock yourself speech. Anyway, so let's go ahead. Okay, so I don't know how much you can hear, but this has probably gone down. I don't know, about half. That kind of sounds more like what it did a couple years ago. So with the wiper completely grounded, I'm still getting sound, which I shouldn't be. Alright, so they included, you know, I'll put a link to the thread, because someone had posted a really long, who is this? Of course it cut off. Old Bear, I think, is the one who did it. The page is cut off. I printed this out. There was an article. There was an article way back in the day about receivers that use these particular tube complements, and I guess well, it's the only set I have that uses these particular tubes, actually. Well, I think. No, that's not true. I think my Sonora may use the same tube complement. But anyway, they had a big long article about how using the early combination tubes were causing this to happen. You know, again, using the early combo tubes in particular way was, you know, one part of the tube was picking up and amplifying a signal from the other part of the tube, etc. But like I said, I'll go ahead and put the link up there. So the next suggestion was to start out with a 1 meg, or do a 1 meg to 2.2 meg resistor across the phono jumper, which I was gonna figure that out. would be basically, where is it? It would be basically that jumper goes between the volume control on the one side and up to the secondary on T4, which is the second IF transformer. Anyhow, I already tested that, and I can tell you the jumper is here. Trying to be careful not to. I got this kind of precariously. Anyway, the jumper is here. Let's see. And if I pull this jumper out, it's going to cut out completely, as you can see there. Well, that was nice. I just grounded it and it popped. So if I go ahead and put a 1 meg in between, it does cut the volume down a bit, but doesn't do it. Again, I just want to ground that, don't I? I'll do the 1 meg here. So as you can see, the 1 meg doesn't do too much. And I already put the 2.2, well, the 2.2, it does cut it down quite a bit, but the problem is when I turn it up, it sounds kind of crappy. I don't know if you can tell there, but it sounds funny, and I was playing with this last night. At louder volumes. Let's see if... No, of course you couldn't know. I don't know if you can tell the difference through here, but the sound doesn't sound right. So that wasn't the solution either. So the next one on the list to try is to put a 100 to 330 picofarad capacitor across R7, which is the 15 meg that goes from ground to the grid of the 6SQ7. The other thing that they had recommended was trying a different SQ7, but as you guys know from the earlier video, I tried a total of 3 different ones with... I thought there may have been a slight difference, but you know, it's hard to say when you turn it off and pull a tube out and put it in, and turn it off, pull a tube out and turn it in, put another one in, and then wait for it to warm up. So if there was a difference, it was just so slight, or it didn't exist at all, and I just thought it did. So I'm going to go ahead, and unfortunately to get to R7, of course, I have to take this can out, because it's underneath here. So the other thing that they had mentioned is that the cables going to the phono hookup should be shielded and as far away from the 6SQ7 as possible, And A, it's the original wiring and it is not shielded. And B, the 6SQ7 is right next to the phono. It's not sitting on top of it, the 6K7 is, but the 6SQ7 is right here. So anyway, I will take this apart and I will be right back. Alright, well, I'm back, and true to just about everything else I've been doing lately. When I pulled this off, well, anyway, this is, I went ahead and ran a test run on it, because my first thought was, watch, this thing won't work because this isn't grounded, but it worked fine. But the problem was, I was thinking I could just jumper the capacitor in there, and I can't. And we're about to get a lesson in wire dressing here, because stupid thing wants to get out of my hand. Listen when I turn it on. So that's what happens when I put jumper cables on there. Alright, so I'm going to actually have to tack solder in a, well, I hope the first one I use works. I suppose maybe if I start in the middle. I don't know if even I have a 310. I don't even know if I have a 110 anymore, because I used that on it up. So let's find my, I need to get a bigger house. Alright, I can get more drawers. Okay, so what have we got here? Well, I have 110 in here, right? Is that what that was? $110. Yeah, and I have a 250, and then it goes up to 500. Wish these weren't so expensive. I'd have more of them, but seems to me every time I buy one or I buy some, I end up needing them, and if I don't buy them, I never need them. So, okay. So I guess I'm gonna have to tack solder this in to try it. I will be back. Okay, with a little help from my helping hands, I got that tacked in there. Now I'm hoping, well, I hope it works. It's the 110. And I'm also hoping that there's no buzz. Gee, you know, I can't tell if there's a difference. Doesn't seem like it to me, but alright, well, I guess I could try the 250. I'll be back. Alright, here's number 2, the 250. No, I'm just not sure there's any difference. I guess I could try the 1 meg again. Guess I didn't realize I left that running. Oop. I just don't see that big of a difference. It's still pretty loud when it's down all the way. So I guess yeah, I guess it's back to the drawing board. I don't know. I wonder if I should. I'm almost tempted to unsolder this while it's playing, but I'm afraid I'll short. Well, maybe not. I don't want any "don't try this at home" comments. Well, besides scaring the crap out of myself there, I don't hear a volume difference when I unhook that. So, alright, back to this drawing board. Thanks for watching, and I'll be back.